Turning to another major story we're following tonight, over 6 months after the fatal officer-involved shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri ignited a national outcry. We've learned details from a Justice Department report expected to be released tomorrow. That report accuses the Ferguson police and courts of racial bias. NBC's Ron Allen is in Ferguson for us tonight with a lot more. Ron, good evening.
Good evening, Lester. First, this report was not about the death of Michael Brown and whether Officer Darren Wilson should face federal civil rights charges. That investigation continues. Officials have already said that those charges are not likely. This investigation looked at how Ferguson Police Department conducts their job. Who do they arrest? Who do they stop on the streets? How do they use force? And we understand it found a pattern of racial bias. Investigating the underlying tension and mistrust that caused so much violence and confrontation after the death of Michael Brown, officials familiar with the Justice Department report say in the 2 years before that deadly encounter, in 88% of the cases when police used force, the suspect was African American, as were 93% of the people arrested. The probe, officials say, also found specific examples of racial stereotyping. A 2008 email by a Ferguson official saying President Obama would not be in office long because what black man holds a steady job for 4 years? Attorney General Eric Holder, who visited Ferguson after Brown's death, has said he was troubled by what he heard.
What we are doing hopefully will have a positive impact.
Officials also say the report accuses police of targeting black and poor drivers to raise revenue. 85% of motorists stopped were black.
I didn't know nothing about jail.
Being in the jail.
Yeah, and I was horrified.
Allison Nelson says she was stopped at least 5 times. First for a cracked windshield, then when she couldn't pay the fine, court fees piled up, then an arrest warrant. Eventually she was stopped and jailed.
If you're poor and black and you're standing in front of a court and saying, I can't afford this, I think the court's less likely to listen to you.
Nelson says her dream job is to join the Navy, but recruiters say no until she clears up her problems with the courts.
It's stressing me out because I can't start my career because of these little tickets.
Officials say the Justice Department probe found that Ferguson overwhelmingly charges African Americans, some 67% of the population, with minor or petty offenses that cause crippling debt, loss of homes, and jobs. Ferguson's leaders have been meeting with federal officials all day in private. Tonight they tell us they are digesting this report and the sweeping reforms the feds will no doubt force them to try to make to start trying to rebuild trust with the community they're supposed to protect and serve. Lester?
All right, Ron.